the last video, we introduced the neoclassical growth model using equations. In this video, we demonstrate how to present the model graphically. Let's start with the two axes. We put output per labour Y on the y-axis and capital per labour K on the x-axis. The curve we want to draw is the intensive form of the production function, y equals a multiplied by k to the power of alpha. As we draw the curve, we see it bows over. That is, it is getting flatter and flatter as k increases. Mathematically, this is because k is raised to the power of alpha, and alpha is less than 1. But this is simply the result of restricting alpha to be less than 1. The reason for this restriction is to make sure that the production function has the property of diminishing returns to capital. The concept of diminishing returns to capital is at the core of the neoclassical growth model. To understand what diminishing return to capital is and why it happens, let's consider this simple example. A chef needs fry pans for cooking. For simplicity, we ignore other inputs like ingredients and gas. When there is no fry pan, output is 0 dish per hour, which is also the labour productivity. If she has one more fry pan, she can make 5 dishes per hour. If she has 2 fry pans, she can make 8 dishes per hour. Labour productivity increases from 5 to 8 because the chef has more fry pans to use. However, labour productivity does not double with the number of fry pans. This is because as the number of fry pans increases, the chef has less time to work with each fry pan. As the chef gets even more fry pans, for example 3, then even though the total output will continue to increase, the increase will get smaller and smaller. That is, output will not increase as fast as capital input. If output increases at a slower rate than capital, it means that output per capital will fall. If output per labour is labour productivity, then logically output per capital is capital productivity. As the number of fry pan increases from 1 to 2 to 3, capital productivity decreases from 5 dishes to 4 dishes and then to 3 dishes. So as we accumulate more capital per labour, capital will become less productive. We call this phenomenon diminishing returns to capital. So from the chef and fry pan example, we have got some important results from the neoclassical growth model. When capital per labour increases, output per labour or labour productivity increases. This means that capital deepening will improve living standards. As capital deepening continues, the growth in output per labour will slow down. This means that we cannot rely on capital deepening to sustain long-term growth. Then the question is, if we cannot maintain the same growth rate simply by accumulating more capital, then what could we rely on? The neoclassical growth model tells us that labour productivity is affected not only by capital per labour, but also by technology. Better technology will increase labour productivity and therefore living standard. In our example of the chef and fry pan, better technology could be frying pans made from more conductive material that allows the chef to cook food up faster. Is technology also subject to diminishing return, like capital? Fortunately, the answer is no. Remember, the reason for diminishing returns to capital is that capital deepening means more capital per labour. But the flip side of more capital per labour is less labour per capital. For example, if there are fewer workers to use a machine, then the machine will produce less. Technology does not have this problem. Once we've developed a new technology, for example, a new search engine for the internet, it can be shared by 100 workers, 1 million workers, or more. Having more workers to use it does not make it less productive. Because technology does not have the diminishing returns property, it can be a source of sustainable long-term growth. In fact, in the neoclassical growth model, technological progress is the only source of sustainable long-term growth. In this video, we have explained the concept of diminishing return to capital using the example of a chef and her fry pan. Here are some questions for you. Do you think labour is also subject to diminishing returns? Can you construct an example to explain your reasons?